Welcome. We are celebrating National Agriculture Month this month of March. Have any of you ever heard of agriculture before? Wonderful. I see some hands up. Agriculture is the science of growing plants and raising farm animals, and farmers play a really big role in helping us do that. So my name is Brooke, and I work with Nebraska Agriculture in the classroom. And today we're going to learn all about sheep. How many of you know what a sheep looks like? Yeah, sometimes they're white and fluffy. You can see behind Farmer Dallas here. He has some of his sheep in his background up here. And so we'll be able to take a closer look at those and kind of learn about all of the different things that sheep need in order to survive. So today we're going to learn more from Farmer Dallas, and he's standing actually outside of his sheep barn today because the weather is so beautiful that we're able to be outside, and he cares for his sheep each and every day. So on this virtual field trip, I'm going to share some information about sheep. Dallas will tell you a little bit about his sheep farm, and then we're going to be able to ask Farmer Dallas some questions today. So this is my friend, Farmer Dallas. Dallas, you want to wave to everybody? He lives on his farm near Blue Hill, Nebraska. And Dallas, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and your farm today?
Well, I have about 45 mama sheep. I have 83 babies this year, and they grew really well. And it's been a perfect year for babies to be born. We really didn't have any cold weather, but if it got cold, we put them in the slamming barn to the side here, and that's where they are lambed at. But it's been a great year, and they love weather like this. They love this sunshine. They're comfortable. They feel like they're just bummed out. You know, they've got a belly full of food. They're just relaxing, just chilling with their friends.
Farmer Dallas, do you raise any other animals on your farm besides sheep?
No. This is my sole possession as far as farming animals is sheep, Brooke.
Wonderful. How long have you been caring for sheep on your farm?
Well, I'm the third generation. Hope my son will be the fourth. I've been in the sheep business probably about 50 years, Brooke.
So did your father then raise sheep on your family farm?
Oh, yeah. That was my mentor, and I guess he was my teacher. He taught me the right way of taking care of animals, and I learned some valuable things from my dad.
So why did you decide that you wanted to continue on farming with your dad?
What's the question again?
Why did you want to continue farming with your dad?
It's like I said, I'm fourth generation. My grandfather was a farmer. My dad was a farmer. It's just in my livelihood. It's in my blood. It's my livelihood. It's something. It's my therapy. I love these animals. It's something. I was born to be a farmer.
Yeah. So Dallas, can we take a little bit closer look at some of your sheep? We're going to learn about what we call a mom, a dad, and a baby on the farm. So do you happen to have a mother that is right there?
We have a little mother right here, just walking right there.
What do we call a mother?
Kind of dark gray come a mom. We have a mother here that's laying down. And these are what we call ewes.
And can you guys say that word with me? A ewe?
Yes, E-W-E, ewe.
Yeah. That is what we call a mother sheep. It is called a ewe. I don't know though, Farmer Dallas, I don't know. Do you have any rams in that pen today?
No. There's no rams in the pen because they were taken out 1st of September and they're on their own building and their own pens off to the side.
So we call a father sheep a ram then, and they kind of get to be in their own pastures as the mom and the babies are together after the baby is born. What do we call a baby sheep, Dallas?
We call them lambs. Oh, and it's L-A-M-B. And he's my oldest baby. That's the lamb. And then we have some over here, laying over here. There's 85 of them. 85 babies this year, correct?
Wow. So Farmer Dallas, What season are lambs typically born in then?
Well, the lambs are typically born, and we call it the spring season, Brooke. It's the December, January, February time of year for us people in the Midwest, in Nebraska, Kansas. And then if you get to the western part of the country, like in the mountains, like Wyoming and Colorado and Montana, they're born in April. And it depends. Mine are born in January and February.
Okay.
That's the typical time of year to be born.
How much does your baby lamb weigh when it's first born?
They weigh about 7 pounds, 7 pounds on the average.
So we can compare that maybe to the size of a human baby almost when it's first born. Mm-hmm. And at how old are the lambs when they're weaned from their mother? Being weaned means they no longer need their mother's milk and they can start to eat more of the food that the mothers are starting to eat. So at how many weeks old are they weaned?
So they're going to be weaned at 2 months, Brooke. The oldest lamb that was born the 13th of January, 2 months ago, this coming Saturday are going to be weaned this Saturday, and they're 2 months age.
Wonderful. Okay, so sheep in the United States are raised for meat production, so they can provide us with a food product, which is an option we can choose to eat, called lamb or mutton. And they also give us something else called wool. How many of you have ever heard of wool before? Maybe if you think about your hats or your mittens that you wear in the wintertime, maybe a wool sweater or those warm wool socks that we wear. Dallas, in Nebraska, there are around 78,000 sheep and lambs that we see across the state. One sheep will produce about 8 pounds of wool a year. And we get that wool by giving our sheep a haircut. We call it shearing our sheep. Do you have to shear any of your sheep on your farm?
Yes, I do. I shear mine probably I start lambing. The babies are born the 1st of January. So I shear my mom's about a month before the babies are born. And the reason that I shear a month before the babies are born, like if your students have it's nice out and they're wearing a t-shirt, the weather gets cold, you're going to put a coat back on or go inside. That's what the mother does. If she feels the chill in the air before the babies are born, she'll go inside, and the babies do better being inside.
So you can move them into the barns in the cold months when it's really cold outside too.
Yes.
So our sheep, or your sheep on your farm, they grow from 7 pounds to about 145 pounds in a unique way. And it all has to do with their basic needs. Can you, what we're going to do, does anybody have any questions for Dallas before we talk more about those basic needs? If you do have a question, you can come up to the camera and your teacher, I'll call in your classroom and your teacher can unmute your microphone and you can ask Farmer Dallas your question. Otherwise, teachers, feel free to type your questions in the chat box too, and I'll try to filter through them and answer them when I see them as well. But if you would like to ask a live in-person question, feel free to come on up. All right, I see a question, I think, in Miss Dewar's class.
I'm gonna unmute his. Okay, now go, sweetheart.
How old are all your sheep?
Well, the moms, the ewes, are probably from a year old till probably, I've got one, she's almost 8 years old. And she's still having babies. In fact, she just had one a week ago. And the moms are about 4 to 5 years old. That's about the normal age of a mom to have babies. The babies here were born, since the 13th day of January. So some of them's 2 months old, some of them's a month old, and some of them, a week old.
Great, thank you. I see another question in Miss Sokol's class.
Go ahead and ask.
How long does it take for a sheep to grow their fur back?
Oh, it takes about a year. We do, like I said, we do it in December before the babies are born. And we just let them go out to pasture and eat grass. And have a comfortable spring and summer, and then the fall we let it grow about a year.
Great. I see another question in Mrs. R's class.
How do the babies get out?
Well,
so I would say, so Farmer Dallas, he has to sometimes help the lambs when they're having babies, but the lamb is a pretty unique animal and they will have their babies naturally most of the time. And so Farmer Dallas just has to be there to kind of help the baby or the mother use when they have their babies. That's a good question. Do we have any other questions? Ooh, I see some in Mrs. Christensen's class.
How long does it take for the baby to get out of its mom's tummy?
So how long does it is it growing in the mom's tummy?
Well, when the moms decide to go to have babies, I'm right there with them. And it probably takes just a couple minutes because I kind of check.
Farmer Dallas, I think they're asking what's the gestation period of
how long is the ewe pregnant?
Oh, the ewe is pregnant for 5 months.
So it takes
She
about
carries
5
the baby
months.
inside her for 5 months.
There we go. Yeah. Do we have any other questions? Ooh, let's see here. Does Mrs. Kipple have a question in her classroom? Or Miss Kipple, sorry. If not, we can move along. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about the basic needs of an animal. And I want you to think here. Think about what these sheep need to be taken care of. Do they have similar basic needs to us as humans? Give me a thumbs up if you think they do have basic or the same basic needs as us, or a thumbs down if they might have different basic needs. Ooh, I see a lot of thumbs up. Farmer Dallas, do sheep have the same basic needs as humans?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's they need food. They need fresh water. They need a warm place to stay. And they need sunshine and fresh air like they're getting today.
Ooh, so they have similar basic needs to us because we as humans, we need food, water, shelter, clothing, and air too, which are our basic needs. So Farmer Dallas gets to take the best care of his sheep, and he does that by making sure that those animals have all of those basic needs met each and every day. So the first basic need is food. Sheep are called herbivores. Have any of you ever heard of a herbivore before? That means that those sheep eat seeds, plants, and grass. So they do not eat meat. Farmer Dallas, can you share what do you feed your sheep? And what kind of, I know you have a little bucket of food there that you were going to show us what that kind of looks like up close. But can you tell us what you feed your sheep on your farm?
Well, the sheep, the mom sheep, and I'm getting some looks from the others. So I wonder what I got their feed for. It's a grain with some pellets in it, and the pellets is like a protein. It's like putting sugar on your breakfast food or energy. It just kind of makes the moms stronger and healthier by feeding this type of feed. And they get 1 pound a day, each mom. The babies get the same thing. And then I have a hay that it's fed free choice. They can get it anytime they want to. I put it in this this feeder right here, and I pitch the hay to them, and they eat. Oh, anytime. It's kind of like a buffet. They eat anytime they want to. But the grain, they get 1 pound per head per day. For one mama.
Okay. So you get to feed you want to make sure your sheep have a balanced diet of food, just like we need a balanced diet. We have to get some proteins and some fruits and vegetables in there to get us our energy and our carbohydrates that we need. So Farmer Dallas makes sure he feeds his lambs every day. And I bet they love to eat that food, don't they?
Oh, yes. Yes, they do.
If you take a, yeah. If you, Nick, do you want to kind of walk up a little bit closer and we can see that, the lamb or the ewe? While we're doing that, Farmer Dallas, how do the babies know who their mom is?
It's an instinct of the sound because every mother has a different kind of sound in her voice. In the evenings when I come out here during lambing or this afternoon, I come out and the mom wants the baby to come have milk. She will just kind of make that black sound, and that baby knows exactly whose mom belongs to, what baby belongs to what mom. It's a unique bond that they have.
Very good. Thank you. So another unique thing about sheep is that they have a ruminant stomach, which means they have a compartment that has 4 different areas in their stomach, which help them break down the grass and the plants that they eat. And so we make sure they have the right types of food that they can access as well. How do you make sure your sheep then have water to drink? We got to see kind of what that food looks like up close, but do they need access to fresh drinking water too?
Oh, yeah. I have what they call an automatic water. The baby lambs up here right in front of us are drinking out of it. It's fresh water. It's just like when your students go to a water fountain at school. It's always there for them. And it's fresh water, and they get it 24/7. Anytime they want to drink, they can.
Wonderful. All right. Do we have any other questions? We've talked a little bit about food and water. What kind of questions do we have for Farmer Dallas now? Let's see. I see one in Mrs. R's class. I see a lot of hands up there.
All right, we've got Claire. Come on.
What does sheep poop look like?
What's the question?
What does sheep poop look like?
Well, honey, it's a round berry. It's just a round brown berry. What their food looks like.
That leads me into another question. Do you have to keep your your sheep stalls clean?
Oh, yes. See, we had a friend of mine, a neighbor. He came and cleaned this all out, just like when you clean your house, like when your mom and dad clean the carpet or clean your room. That's what I do here. I clean this so they're all comfortable. They can lay down. It's nice and dry and warm for them. It's just like laying on a nice mattress or a nice bed.
Yeah, so you kind of have to keep that clean as well. Do we have any other questions that we would like to ask? Let's see. I see some in Ms. Doerr's class.
Do you have any black or gray sheep?
Yes, I do, honey. Right here, right behind. Right, I've got a black one right here. Now her baby is going to be either white or black like mom. And a black sheep is, okay, if you have 100 head of sheep, a black sheep is 1 out of 100. It's not rare, but it's common to have a black sheep.
Wonderful. We have another question from Miss Pinkering's class, and it says, this question's from Arabella. Can you or do you dye the sheep's wool?
Yes. There's the lady. We take the wool after the sheep is removed from the wool is removed from the sheep. It's taken to a woolen mill. There they take the dye and they put it in that wool when they spin it and process it, and that's where you get your colored socks, your different colored sweaters, hats, or anything that's made out of wool.
Great.
But it's just normal. I don't do the dye. That's at the factory.
Yes. I see another question in Miss Sokol's class.
Okay. How old can a sheep get?
Well, I've got a mommy that's over there. I just had a baby, and she's that one walking right there. It's got the baby right beside her. She is almost 11 years old. And the reason she stays is because she's such a great mom. She takes care of her babies. She takes care of herself and her baby. She's just the best mom in the world. And if you feed them right and take care of them and treat them like I do, they can live forever. But probably about 8 years is how long a mom will stay.
Great, thank you. I see another question in Mrs. Christensen's classroom.
Do the sheep ever get to go in the pasture?
Yes. In fact, when we get some warm weather and the grass starts growing and it looks really, really nice and green out there like your lawns, they'll go out to the pasture about the first day of June. It gives it plenty of time to get some growth to it so that they can have plenty to eat.
Great.
And they stay out there in the pasture till probably September, like when leaves fall out of the trees and stuff and it gets older in the fall. Then they come back in and I feed them grain and hay.
Great. Let's take another question from Miss Dewar's class.
Do they eat snow?
Well, they do. And I think it's just mostly just curiosity, because if they've been inside having their babies and they come outside, they'll nibble at it. And I think there's something in the chemicals in the snow. It's kind of like they like a snow cone. They like eating it.
All right.
Curiosity.
Yeah. Farmer Dallas, that must be a really nice ewe.
Yes.
She wants all of your attention this afternoon.
Well, she used to be a bottle baby.
Oh.
And this is her 3rd year of having babies for me. And she's badly spoiled.
Very fun. So we learned a little bit about the food and how those sheep get access to water. How do you ensure that they get fresh air on the farm?
Just out here in the sunshine and the clouds in the sky and the breeze is blowing through. Beautiful day as you see all the babies are laying around. They got all that fresh air. They're relaxed and just comfortable. They're just loving the weather.
Wonderful. So they have access to go outside, and even in your barns, you have ways for that air to circulate in the barn, and you can open the doors, and I'm sure there's maybe a window or maybe on your barn that can open up to let some of that air in. But when they go into the barn, the purpose is to keep them nice and warm, isn't it?
Yes. I've got a big door on the south. I open it up, the sunshine comes in on them, but it's so nice out. They don't want to go inside. They love this air out here.
Yeah, so sheep are raised on farms and they live in environments that are designed to help these farmers meet their needs. And some sheep will go into the barns, especially in the winter time or when they're lambing, which means they're having their babies. But they can also move outdoors and kind of move around and have space to do that. So we can see that on Dallas's farm, his sheep are outdoors today. And some of them, if it starts to snow or if it gets kind of cold, he can move some of his sheep indoors to keep them warm as well. Do you have any heaters in your barns to keep or heat lamps?
Not really, because a mother's sheep and his babies put off enough heat through their bodies that they pretty much keep all the rest of them warm. No, it's just their own, just like when you cuddle with your sister, your brother, your mom and dad. It's just enough warmth coming from them that they keep everybody warm.
Yeah, because naturally we think of sheep being outdoor animals. And so they have the ability to warm up their bodies to keep them warm and move around. But you keep them indoors to protect them from the environment. Do you have problems with any predators out on your farms? Or how could you keep a sheep safe from predators?
Well, I have what they call mercury light. It's lights like a street light. And animals, the predators don't like to come up around a street light or a yard light, as we call them here on the farm. I have a dog, a black lab that kind of roams around. She barks once in a while because she just barks at anything. I don't have trouble with predators. There is predators in the area, but they stay away from my farm.
Another question I have for you, I kind of forgot to ask you when we were talking a little bit about it, but when the sheep are born on your farms, do you give them any vaccinations or shots to protect them from getting sick?
Yes. When they're probably 3 days old, I give them a shot that's called overeating. And what it does, a baby lamb doesn't know when they'll just keep eating and eating, like on Thanksgiving or Christmas when you have that big meal. They just keep eating and they get belly aches. And so I give them a shot when they're 3 days old. So when this is in their body, they can eat all they want and it doesn't bother them. They can eat all the time.
Awesome. Can you tell us what are some of your job duties that you have to do each day to take care of the sheep on your farm?
Well, I have to feed them every morning. They get this grain in the morning. Then I give them the hay, the grass that you see there. I check the waters, make sure that the water's fresh for them. Then I walk through the lambs to see if anybody doesn't feel punky, needs a shot or some tender loving care. But just mostly I feed them and walk through them and see if everybody's comfortable and happy. I do that every day. Every morning.
Yeah, so making sure you're checking on them each day. Is it hard to go on vacation when you raise sheep?
I have friends that take care of it for me. Yeah. I have neighbors that they'll come over and check if I have to be gone for the day. They're never without having someone checking on them.
Yeah, so that's the really important thing about caring for our animals. We have to make sure that their basic needs are met as well. Farmer Dallas, do you have to go to school to be a farmer?
No, it helps. I mean, it does help, but the best way to learn to raise animals like that is to ask questions. Ask other people that's been in the sheep business longer than me. There's a lot of people who will help you with questions and answers. You just have to basically just learn one day at a time. You never stop learning. Every day you learn something new.
Wonderful. Can you tell us one last question, and then I'll open it back up to the classrooms to ask questions with about the 5 minutes we have left here. But why do you like taking care of the sheep on your farm or working with sheep?
The reason I like taking care of sheep is because there's not a lot of hard labor in taking care of it. It's not hard lifting. It's not hard work. It's just relaxing. It's time consuming. It's time consuming, but it's relaxing. It's kind of like a therapy. I love seeing animals grow, and it's a passion I've had. Like I say, I'm the third generation of doing this, of having sheep on a farm, and it's something I was raised to be.
Wonderful. Do you think we could get a little bit closer up view of maybe some of your lambs or your sheep? I know sometimes when we walk towards them, they like to kind of scatter and run around, but maybe while we're asking you some of these questions to wrap up, we can get a closer look at some of these lambs or these sheep that we have. Do we have any other questions? We're going to take about 2 or 3 minutes here to ask additional questions if you would like to stay on before we wrap up today. All right. Do we have a question in Miss Pinkering's 4th grade? Or are we just standing there? Maybe. Sorry. Let's see here. I see a hand in Mrs. R's class.
Isn't he soft?
What is the average lifetime of a sheep?
Ooh,
what was that?
The
What is
average
the average lifetime of a sheep?
Oh, they could be 5 years, 8 years. If you feed them right and take care of them and love them, like this little baby's mom, you could go 8, 9 years for a lifetime of a sheep.
Great. All right. We have a question from Miss Pinkering's class. It says from Layla, how many boy and girl sheep do you have? Do you know the number off the top of your head?
Well, it's about half and half. There's 85 babies out here, and half of them are boys and half of them are girls.
Wonderful.
Exactly half.
Very fun. Okay, let's see. I see another question in Miss Sokol's class.
Did you name any of them?
Yes, I do. Because I have children that take these lambs to the fair. And when the kids come out and work with their lambs and they get to love them a lot, see, I've got Misty out here. I've got Diva. I got Gretchen, Millie. But there's probably about 7 of them out here that's got their own names.
Very fun. Yeah. So you can see that lamb that he's holding there. We take a little closer.
This is a little boy.
This is a little boy. So this would be when he grows up, he would be called a ram then, because the rams are the males, the ewes are the females, and then the lambs are the babies. Let's take another question. I see somebody and Mrs. Christian.
Does it when the sheep get sheared?
Ooh, does it hurt when the sheep get sheared?
No, it don't hurt them. When they come in, the guys will take them and they just kind of set them on their butt, on their bottoms, and they'll just shear them away. It takes about 3 minutes. They don't even feel it, hon. It's not. It just it feels comfortable. It's just like taking your coat off when you go outside in the summertime. It feels good.
Yeah, I kind of like to think of it, if any of you have ever gone and had your hair cut before, that's all they're doing. They're just giving them a trim to get rid of some of that wool, and then they feel a little bit lighter after they walk out of there. Okay, Miss Dora's class.
How many sheep do you have?
I have a total of about 150 of them. There's 80 babies and probably 60 mamas.
Great. Do we have any other questions? We have time for a couple more. Let's see here. I see some hands again in Miss Sokol's class.
Good to ask. What's your question?
Who's the oldest sheep?
She already said it's 11. Remember that one you showed us?
Yeah,
Anyone else?
he has an 11-year-old sheep. Miss Swanigan, do you have a question in your classroom?
Yes, we have a question here. Go ahead, Addie.
Do sheep lay eggs?
No, honey. This is what they have. This is their chick. I guess this is their chicken version. They have babies like this.
Yep, so they have baby lambs, and sheep are raised to give us wool, and sometimes they give us meat, which is an option we can choose to eat as well. Great question. All right, let's take another one from Mrs. Christensen's class.
Under the baby's house, the same color as the parents.
Same color eyes?
No, the same fur.
The same color wool or fur.
Yeah, yes. If like the mama that we showed a little bit ago, the dark, her babies will turn dark like that one right there. And if she's white, like that one right there, then they turn out to be all white. It takes a while. It takes about 3 months for them to turn pure white.
All right, we have another question in Miss Pickering's classroom. It says, Anna asked, do they ever fight with each other?
Well, they're like families. You have some of these in here are sisters. And if you is in a family, if you fight with your sister or have an argument, yeah, they kind of butt heads each other, but it's just to be feeling naughty or honored with each other. And it's not to be mean. They grew up together. It's like having your sister and you get into an argument. They get in arguments too.
Wonderful. Okay, I see one more question here with a student standing up here. So Miss Dora's class, do you want to ask one more question?
Go for it, man.
What time does the baby sheep go to bed?
They go to bed whenever they want it, because when they're born like this now, like as you see, this one over here, he's sleeping. And the reason he's sleeping is because he's taking a nap. And they just don't have no curfew. They don't have no time when they have to go to bed. They want to lay down and go to sleep. They just sleep.
All right. And we're going to take one more question from Miss Swanigan's class. And then we're going to wrap up here.
Okay, go ahead.
How long are sheep's hair?
Ooh, how long does the sheep wool, how long does that get?
Their wool will get probably about 2 inches long before we take it off and before the babies are born.
That's a great question.
That is a good question. Very good question.
All right. Well, today we learned all about the basic needs of a sheep. We learned how Farmer Dallas makes sure that his sheep have access to all of the food and the water, that their sheep have fresh air and shelter as well. So his sheep can go indoors or outdoors depending on the weather and the climate that we have. Farmer Dallas makes sure his sheep have the best care possible as well. So I just want to say thank you again to all of the classrooms who joined us today as we celebrate National Ag Month. And thank you, Farmer Dallas, for taking time out of your busy day to kind of share with us your farm and what it's like to raise sheep here in Nebraska. Because farmers like you work hard every day to make sure that our animals have the best care so that they're happy and healthy. So again, thank you for sharing your farm with us today. All right, that is all we have today. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Bye.